Hi everybody, this is Raxel1447, and like probably everybody else on the mass internet right now, I too am getting ready to share my thoughts and feelings and how I think of the entire Colorado Sandy Hook elementary school shooting. I first heard about it on Saturday. Actually, no, what's not Saturday? I first heard about it late Friday evening, the day the shootings occurred, and I didn't hear about it until the evening when my mom came home and told me about it. And then I talked to my friend who's still in high school, and she said she heard about it in her 6 hour. And I went on ahead and I did a little bit of research, and it's heartbreaking. Um, 26 people died in total, and 20 of them were children, first graders, little kids that weren't even a decade old. They were either age 6 or 7, both male and female, died at the hands of Adam Lanza, 20-year-old Adam Lanza, who apparently who apparently was mentally ill, and he had violent outbreaks. And at first, of course, everybody questioned the motivation, but now that I heard about the mentally ill part, I'm thinking, well, wait a second. Maybe it was just another one of his violent outbreaks. He almost stabbed his mother at the age of 13. So, duh. But, I should be asleep right now. Mom just left for work, and I should be asleep right now because I'm exhausted. But after reading up on some stuff and reading on some stuff that pissed me off, which I'll get to later in this video, we're just gonna go right ahead and, jump into this, shall we? But first, I want to start off by reading the list of victims who were killed, both children and adults. I will post everything in the description this time, and I'm doing this on my mom's desktop, not on my profile, and I'm not doing this on the laptop, so things should go a little bit more smoothly. But, I just want to say, if anyone of the family is watching this, I sincerely, I apologize for your loss. I had tears in my eyes when I first saw this, and expect me to cry a little bit because it is truly heartbreaking. And it doesn't just affect everybody. It doesn't just affect people in Connecticut. It affects everybody around the country. Because right now our kids feel like that they're not going to be safe. Well, I'm not pregnant, obviously. I am married, but I'm not pregnant. But, I just want you guys to know that I'm sorry for your loss, and I'm sure your children or your wife or your sister, if they were an adult working at the school or whatever, I'm sure that they were wonderful, beautiful, smart people, and hopefully if there is a heaven, which I'm not going to get into any religious bullcrap right now. If there is a heaven, then I'm sure that they will have the most wonderful time in the afterlife. And maybe, if reincarnation does exist, I believe in reincarnation. If they get reincarnated, I hope they will still be wonderful and beautiful, and hopefully won't suffer a horrific death. Even those who were close to retiring, like one victim whose name escapes me. She was close to retiring. She was a school psychologist. She only had a year to retire. So she was so close to finally, getting her happily ever after, and these kids haven't even been alive for a decade. So I feel sorry for you guys, and my sincerest apologies, and I hope that you guys will find some way to cope. And if the children have brothers and sisters, then please, you need to sit down with them and explain to them what happened. Don't tell them that they went to sleep or they went away, because it will confuse them, and they will constantly ask, where have they gone, when will they be back, or when will they wake up. You will have to find a more lighthearted way of explaining. You don't have to tell them how they died. You just need to tell them that they're no longer with you. So, moving on, I'm going to read off the names of the victims, and I apologize if I botch up the pronunciations. I'm going to read the names of the victims, the day they were born, how old were they, and their gender. Let's start off with the children. Charlotte Bacon. She was born on February 22nd, 2006, and she is 6 years old, and she's a female. Daniel Barden, who was born September 25th, 2005. He was 7 years old, and he was a boy. Olivia Angel, sorry, I can't think right now. July 18th, 2006. She was 6 years old, and she was a female. Josephine Gay, December 11th, 2005. age 7. She was a female. Anna M. Marquez Green, April 4th, 2006. She was 6 years old and she was a female. Dylan Hockley, uh, March 8th, 2006. He was 6 years old and he was male. Madeline F. Sorry, I'm not good with name pronunciations. July 10th, 2006. She was 6 years old and she is female. Catherine V. Hubbard, June 8th, 2006. She was 6 years old and she was female. Chase Kowalski, October 31st, 2005. Halloween baby. Brofist to you. Age 7 and he was male. Jesse Lewis, June 30th, 2006. He was 6 years old and he was male. James Matoli, March 22nd, 2006. He was 6 years old and he was male. Grace McDowell, November 4th, 2005. Age 7. She was female. Emile Parker, May 12th, 2006. She was 6 years old. She was female. Jack Pinto, whose funeral is today, this afternoon, May 6th, 2006, age 6, he was male. Noah Ponzer, whose funeral is also today, November 20th, 2006, age 6, male. Caroline Privity, September 7th, 2006, age 6, female. Jessica Rakos, May 10th, 2006, age 6, female. Avil Richmond, October 17th, 2006, age 6, female. Benjamin Wheeler, September 12th, 2006, age 6, male. And finally, Allison N. Wyatt, July 3rd, 2006, age 6, female. All these children here were 6 to 7 years old. And that's the sad part about it. They're young kids. They were probably beautiful, wonderful kids. Now we have the adults. The teachers. Rachel Davino. Oh, crap. Too many Rachels. July 17th, 1983. Age 29. Female. Dawn Hochsprung, who was the principal, if I recall correctly. June 28th, 1965, female, age 47. Anne Marie Murphy, whose name I've heard somewhere before. July 25th, 1960, age 52, female. Lauren Rousseau, 1982, age 29, female. Mary Serlock, February 11th, 1956, female, age 56. I read that backwards. I'm not the same age as my mom. And I think she's the psychologist, the school psychologist who is going to retire next year. And finally, Victoria Soto, November 4th, 1985, age 27. She's a female. And then you have Nancy Lanza, who apparently works at the school as well, but her name's not on the list, nor is her son, Adam Lanza. So over 20 people, wonderful people who are a wonderful addition to this country, died. And it's a damn shame. It really is. Sorry, I'm kind of losing my... Okay, as I said earlier when I was reading their names, Noah Ponzer and Jack Pinto, who are both 6 years old, will be laid to rest this afternoon. And certainly families are taking time to get their children's final affairs in order. They're also trying to explain to those siblings, if the child had siblings, trying to explain what happened. And it's really sad when the parents outlive the children. That's not how it's supposed to be at all. And you're not supposed to have caskets child size. Nature wasn't intended for that. It certainly wasn't intended for that. Killing a child is possibly the worst freaking thing you can do. Killing, raping, beating, abusing a child is the worst sin I believe in. Okay? How can I put this delicately? Well, forget about delicacy for right now. Basically, when you're in a prison, you have your murderers, and you have your rapists, you have your abusers, you have all those wonderful, colorful people. And of course, yeah, they're gonna brag about what they did. I murdered three women. Oh, really? I murdered 6 men all at the same time. Blah, 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 blah. We already get the picture. However, the moment a pedophile, a child killer, a child abuser walks into the prison cell, you all know what's gonna happen to that. Even mass murderers will consider anybody who harms a child the lowest scum on the earth, lower than them. So actually, people who end up shooting up elementary schools, and okay, fine, this is the first I've heard of it so far. People who do end up doing this, yeah, they're gonna fucking perform suicide. Wanna know why? Because they don't want to get their asses raped, beat, and possibly killed in prison for killing 20 little kids who weren't even a decade old. They didn't even pass their first decade, and that's possibly the saddest thing I've ever heard. But, pray for the families, especially for Noah and Jack. God bless your souls. Every single deity that may or may not exist, bless their souls. Mrs. Karma, Zeus, whoever the hell you believe in. Everyone bless their souls. Alright, moving on. Let's talk about the assailant and his first victim, which is his mother. I keep forgetting the last name. Adam Lanza, the 20-year-old who decided to go into the school and shoot up the people in the first place. He had a couple handguns on him. I think was it 4 assault weapons, if I recall correctly? Yeah, it was 4 assault weapons, 2 of which he decided to leave in the car. Yeah, because if he had those last 2, he would have killed twice as much. And then the death toll would have been doubled, and then I'd be even more sad. But Adam Lanza had 2 handguns and several rounds of ammunition. Now, when I first heard about his mother, Nancy, I heard that, she had a gun in the house, and I'm like, oh, so that's how he got the gun. And then I learned that she was an avid gun collector. I'm like, the hell? How can you possibly... What? So yeah, she was an avid gun collector, and according to reports, she was very, very proud of it. She took her sons to the shooting range very often, and she taught them how to shoot, and she kept all those guns around the house because she claimed it was for self-defense. No wonder why her husband divorced her. I'm sorry, I mean no disrespect. I'm just trying to go about business as usual, so if I mean any disrespect, I sincerely apologize. And they also said that he had a lot of ammunition, and I mean a lot, like hundreds and hundreds of rounds, that he could have killed the entire school and half the population of the small town if he wanted to, and if given enough time to, and he would have, if he had that much ammunition, and probably much more back at his mother's house. So it was no wondering where he got the gun, let alone the ammunition from. Now, no one truly here is to blame. It's hard for me to explain, but I don't know how to put this. I should really plan these videos out better. How can I put this? You can't put the entire blame on one person. You can't put the entire blame on Adam, okay? Adam was mentally ill, according to reports. He was socially awkward. When he was in a bad mood, from what I've read, he was socially awkward. He would make death threats, suicide threats. He even tried to stab Nancy a few times. Okay? And he would be rambling on about pleasant things like Doctor Who and quantum physics and Albert Einstein. He was smart as all hell when he was in a good mood. But he had those violent outbreaks. And when you have a mentally I shouldn't say mentally ill. When you have a special needs child, there we go. When you have a special needs child or dependent that is like that, then you know how it feels like, right? You know how that feels like. However, I kind of blame Nancy a little bit more than I blame Adam. He probably couldn't control it, and you don't know what's going to set someone like that off. You don't know what their triggers are. Even if you've known them for 20 plus years, you don't know what's going to set them off. And even if you do, you might have those bad days, and you might just accidentally set them off. Special needs people have as much bad days as regular people, except for them it's a lot more exaggerated. In their head, everything's a little bit screwed up. And again, I mean this in the utmost polite way as possible. Everything in their heads is a little bit screwed up. Something that could be a tiny problem for the average person could be something like the end of the world for a special needs person. Their mentality is very different. And trust me, normal people's mentality are already pretty damn different from the beginning. We're humans. We think differently from each other. It's what brings the world together, but also separates us from one another. It's what makes us unique. Some of us take the smallest things out of proportion. For special needs people, this is especially true. So maybe something set him off, and, well, he had the resources. His mother worked at the school, so he knew classes were in session. Except what was his mother doing home, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not even entirely sure she actually even... I don't know if she was retired or what. Someone could clear that up for me and that'd be fine. But the point is, she worked at the school. So obviously he knew the schedule. He knew classes were in session. And hey, his mother was home. So he shot his mother first and then went to go shoot some innocent kids and some wonderful teachers and then proceed to perform suicide by shooting himself in the head. We don't know what was going through his mind. And believe me, if I could go to the autopsy room where he's being held, probably at this current moment. I don't think he's being held at the morgue yet. If I could go to the autopsy room where he's being held and bring him back to life and ask him, what was going through your mind? But we can't do that. Nobody has the power to do that. This isn't Weeds, if that's the name of the show. Nobody has the power to do that. So we don't know what was running through his mind. Not even his own brother knows what was running through his mind. But considering the fact that he was mentally unstable, then his mother could have ticked him off. He could have easily just ended it by shooting and killing his mother, but no. Instead, he felt the need to take it out on a bunch of other people. He felt wronged somehow. But anyway, back to my original point. I blame Nancy a little bit more than I blame Adam. I'm sorry. You should not have kept all those guns around in the house. And I know you're dead, and I respect that. But you should not have kept those guns all around the house. It makes me wonder how securely you locked up those guns. It makes me wonder that. I mean, when he was threatening you with knives, you would keep them in a Tupperware container. What was the point of keeping all those guns in the house? Yes, do what you love, but when you have a mentally unstable son in the house, then you kind of gotta sacrifice that. You should have seen this coming. I'm sorry. That's the basic truth. You should have seen this coming. And plus also, it's nice taking your sons to the shooting range. You're teaching them how to be a man. You're also teaching them how to defend themselves and to someday defend their wives or their husbands if they turn out like that, or their children, or their property, or whatever. But it was said that she took them to the gun range. It said that you took them to the gun range very often. Yes, I am speaking directly to her. It says that you took them to the gun range very often. And I know you're not going to deny it because you're proud of it. But that is something you should not have done. That should even be an occasional trip, especially with a mentally unstable son. It should have just been once or twice a month, if that much. You should have had your son. You should have had your son involved in more positive activities. I don't know, maybe something like sports, something like swimming, maybe even freaking yoga. But shooting range, yeah, your son certainly developed the accuracy to kill 20 small kids and 6 wonderful teachers. So, alright. Now, with that out of the way, I'm going to talk about somebody who just pissed me off very much and now who is on my next to kill list. Everyone, please put your hands together for the pleasant, and who has won my Douchebag of the Year award, Mike Huckabee. Yeah, I'm too tired and pissed off to do a sarcasm clap, so you get a regular clap. But believe me, it has sarcasm in it. Moving on. Now, Mike Huckabee has... Now, like I said, all the articles and whatnot are in the description, and I probably should not have just closed those tabs, but I am tired. What was I saying? I have the article in front of me right now, obviously, and the title is, Mike Huckabee offends us all, blaming gun violence on removing God from schools. Let me just say, but this is the number one motherfucking reason why I don't have a goddamn religion. I have my beliefs, but I don't turn it into a freaking religion. Are you fucking kidding me? The last time I said the national anthem was in 4th grade, and of course we had the whole God thing in there. I mean, yeah, I'm skeptical about the whole God thing. But come on, I'm not gonna get overly offended if you ask me to say the national anthem with God in it. I mean, I'm not gonna write out bitch if you ask me to pray with you. I mean, yeah, I'll bow my head, I'll close my eyes, I'll be all respectful. I won't say anything. If you ask me to lead me in prayer, I'll probably politely decline because I'm not comfortable with it. That's all you have to do. I'm not an atheist, I'm not a Christian. I don't have any religion. I just A, don't have the time to, B, don't have the patience for it. C, you can't deal with stupid people. Not saying that everybody who has a religion is stupid. I am sorry if I offended you. And D, I just don't have time for it. I talked really fast there. Moving on. After the terrifying gun violence at the Clackamas Town Center Mall was followed a few short days later by the horrific school shootings in Newtown, Connecticut. Predictable statements excusing guns were everywhere. Wait, Clackamas Town Center Mall? Oh, that's the mall shooting they were talking about. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear about that. I might do that one next. It's not the gun, it's the person. Is probably the most common, which is true. It is not the gun, it is the person. Let's think about it. Anything can be a weapon. Right now, I have my cell phone in my hand. It's a small rectangular blue cell phone, okay? It's a BlackBerry. I have a fucking BlackBerry in my hand. If I wanted to, I could wait until my mother comes home and relentlessly beat her in the head with it until she stops moving. This pencil here, I can sharpen it to extreme lengths so that way it will kill a person on impact. My headphones, I can strangle them with. The small little tiny pencil sharpener. Yes, even the small tiny little pencil sharpener, I can shove down someone's throat, a child's throat, and fucking strangle and fucking make them suffocate. Or I can take out this blade and cut them several times. This tape, I can bound them with it. A piece of paper. Well, I could wad it up and shove it down their throat. Anything could become a weapon. But are you going to ban cell phones? No. Are you going to ban tape? No. Are you going to ban pencil sharpeners? Are you going to ban are you going to ban headphones? Are you going to ban paper? No. It's not the gun. It's the person behind the gun. It's the person behind it's the person behind everything. I could use this keyboard and go out on the street right now and kill someone. Oh, look, somebody just walked by my window. They looked at me like I was fucking insane, but I take that as a compliment. I could take this keyboard right now and fucking hit them in the head with it. It has nothing to do with the weapon itself. Are you going to ban keyboards now? No. Gun control does need to be tightened, yes, but that doesn't mean you should outlaw guns completely. Some people use guns for self-defense. My mom and I are getting ready to take a concealed weapons class because let's face it, we do live near Detroit. There are cops running up and down Coolidge Highway as we speak. Look, there goes one right now. Except his sirens weren't on, so it's probably pretty serious, and he's probably just getting ready to do a stealth mode. And shit happens, okay? The other night, I heard a gunshot that was pretty damn close to my house, and I stayed up the entire night with 3 kitchen knives and a meat cleaver and my brother's Navy dagger at my side. Okay? I'm a paranoid freaking person. It's not the guns, it's the person. As long as I don't take the freaking gun and start killing people. I could if I wanted, but I'm not going to. Another thread of the pro-gun meme pushing for arming educators, claiming that if teachers had guns, attacks wouldn't happen. What do I say about this? what, what do I say about this? I can agree on that, but it doesn't, like I said, anything can become a weapon. You could take a pen. Even just throwing it at them would be enough to distract them. But you need to do more than just arm yourself physically. You need to arm yourself mentally and emotionally. Right now, when something like this happens, when there is a school or an office or a mall shooting, you need to arm yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. Here's what I mean by that. To arm yourself physically is evil. Evil? The fuck? I'm sorry. Easy. I might need a can of Coke soon. To physically arm yourself is easy, okay? To physically arm yourself means that you grab anything within your reach. Like if someone was to attack my house right now, I would probably, as of right now, disconnect everything from the hard drive, pick up the hard drive, and smash them in the head with it. It would break the computer in the process, but guess what, bitch? I'm alive! If you're in a school, then this is the easy part. You grab a pen, you grab a sharpened pencil, you grab a desk lamp, you grab one of those fancy name tag things principals have on their desks. You grab something. You can even grab your jacket and throw it over the person's head if you get close enough. You can whip them with it. It'll sting, don't get me wrong, because I was whipped with a pair of pants before. But believe me, there is always something you can use to defend yourself with. So arming yourself physically is easy. Arming yourself mentally is a little bit harder because internally you're panicking, and it ties in with emotionally too. And I'll explain that in a minute. To mentally arm yourself is easy. You have to get over your panic. You have to try not to panic. And I know it sounds easy, but believe me, it's fucking hard. Okay? You have to try not to panic. You have to try and calm yourself, and you have to realize the fact that you might die. And you can't do it for selfish reasons, like, oh, I'm going to be a hero even if I die, derp. No, you can't do it for selfish reasons. You have to put aside your own care in order to defend someone who is lower than you. And that's what many of those teachers did. Many of those teachers were found dead, huddled up against their kids, trying to protect them from a rain of bullets. The first thing that the school principal and the school psychologist did was run at the gunman, and that's how they died, running at the gunman trying to protect their students. Emotionally is possibly the hardest of them all. You can't show any fear. People who go up into places, sadistic, psychopath, idiots who go up and start shooting up in these places will be able to sense fear. And they thrive off that fear. You can't let them do that. You simply cannot let them do that. So, let's recap. Arming yourself physically is easy. Just grab the nearest frickin' thing and think about how to use it as a weapon. Preparing yourself mentally is difficult. You need to put away all that panic and the fact that you might die while defending someone lower than you or defending yourself, and you have to replace that with a steel resolve to survive or to help someone else survive. Emotionally is possibly the hardest of them all. You have to put aside that fear, and you have to put aside that doubt, and you have to put aside that sadness that you might die. And you have to have that courage. You have to have yourself some strong, hot, bubbling courage. Okay? Perhaps the saddest response of all is to invoke God in the way Mike Huckabee did, saying that it was an interesting thing on Fox. Okay, for the record, guys, I don't watch Fox News. I don't follow Fox News. I barely follow the news in the first place. Okay? In fact, the only reason I'm talking about this because I feel the need to talk about it, and I have no one else in this barren house to talk to except for 4 cats, and they can't talk back in the form of human words, and they can't give their opinion. So, yeah, I don't follow the news. I don't watch Fox. To me, Fox is a load of crap. And yes, I am kind of mad how they call bronies. I am kind of mad about how they call bronies that all they want to do is just get Social Security, so that way they can just stay home and watch ponies. We don't do that, but moving on. I know, it's a year late. Shut up. When we ask why there is violence in our schools, but we systematically removed God from our schools, should we be surprised that schools have become a place for carnage because we made it a place where we don't talk about eternity, life, responsibility, and accountability? Okay, from what I know, generations ago, yes, there was a Bible in every desk. Yes, you did say a prayer. But as people became more and more outspoken, people thought maybe we shouldn't be doing this because not everybody might feel comfortable. And when you don't feel comfortable in a learning environment, then you don't want to come to learn. If you don't come to learn, then you don't get educated. If you don't get educated, then you won't be able to contribute to society. If you aren't able to contribute in society, then I'm sorry, you're kind of a waste of space. Bottom line, get an education, okay? And I actually kind of feel bad for saying this because my husband ended up having to drop out of high school, but he needed a job more than he needed an education. And he is going to get his GED, but right now we simply don't have the money. And right now I'm in college, so you obviously know how I feel about the subject. And I gotta get rid of Mom's laptop. Mom's desktop is freaking retarded, but moving on. Should we be surprised that schools being in place for Karns eternity, life, responsibility, accountability. Okay, school isn't really a place to talk about those things. Responsibility, okay, let's talk about this one by one. Eternity. What does eternity have to do with school? Right now, you are in school. Okay, well, no, I take that back. When you make your mark on the world, it is most likely to last for an eternity. When you want to make your life in the world, you gotta go get an education. You gotta go to school. So going to school and gaining education, no matter how early or late, is one step into making a mark on the world that will last for an eternity. Life. Well, yeah, whether you think so or not, some of these school lessons can be used for real life. But to talk about life in general, you can use real life examples, but after that, there's not really much to talk about in life. And to be honest, these are young kids. These are first graders. You have to take that in mind. These are first graders. These are fucking first graders. What are you going to talk about life? To them, life is all about friends and candy and toys. They're innocent. They're pure. What are you going to talk about? What kind of life are you going to talk about the first grader? I want a buddy for Christmas. Oh yeah, well I want my mom and dad to be alive for Christmas because I lost them to drugs. That's a fucking first grader. Are you fucking kidding me? Responsibility. Yes, responsibility is a big part in not only school, but in life in general. We have responsibilities, no matter how young we are. And doing homework is one of the first responsibilities a child can have. And then later it evolves to essays, reports, and then when you get a job, it has to go with sales statistics, status reports, all of that. We all have responsibilities, and it's often talked about whether you're in the subject of God or not. And accountability. Yes, we must always take accountability for our actions. When you're as young as a first grader, if you don't turn in your homework, the teacher's just going to give you a warning. And that's it. And of course you continue on with your merry innocent way. However, as the child gets older and older, they're gonna have to start becoming accountable for their actions. Like if they don't turn in a report, it's possible that they could get fired. If they rob a bank and if they get caught, they might go to jail. If they murder someone, they might go to jail. Okay? So yes, accountability is a big part of it. But once again, I don't see how you can talk. I don't see what's the problem is about talking about accountability without talking about God. I don't see the problem in that. I really don't. Anyway, hang on, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be right back. I have to get a can of Coke now. It's just too much, and my throat's getting really dry. So I'll be right back. Okay? Yeah. Okay, I'm back, clearly, and I have a can of Coke, so I should be best sound in the world. Okay, anyway, what Huckabee said is despicable on so many levels. It should offend everyone who lost someone and society as a whole. It's a coward's way of avoiding conversation. If removing God caused it, then the answer is putting him back. It's the fault of godless progressiveness. They are to blame, and there's nothing they are to blame. There's nothing the good people of God can do about it except for vote for the likes of Huckabee at the polls. I have to agree with this one. I really do. What he said, it's offending even me, okay? And it's offending even me, and I don't even know anyone who's been murdered, and I don't even know who's been, okay, well, I do know someone who's been raped, but I'm not going to get into that because it's his personal business. And I know, and I don't really know anyone like that. And yet what he said is so despicable. You're blaming the people for everything. I'm sorry, but I read an article. I read an article about how there were. I read an article about how there were Christmas trees. People were donating Christmas trees and putting stuffed animals and candy on them as a memorial for the kids. And of course, some idiots like, they're not Christmas trees, they're holiday trees. I'm being politically incorrect. They're so insulting because this is a serious time. Kids were just fucking killed, and you're gonna bitch about political correctness? You're gonna bitch about religion? And then other guy's like, where was God? God could have prevented this. And someone said something that brought tears to my eyes because I 100% agreed with it, even though I'm not entirely religious. Someone said something, and it sort of went like this. I wish I still had it up. God was in those men. God was in those teachers who defended the kids. God was in the kids that survived. God inspired those heroes. A little bit of God was in them, and I'm not even entirely sure what the comment really said. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm tired, okay? I just spent the majority of my morning trying to put a goddamn stand on a fucking Christmas tree, okay? Which I still gotta do. Well, moving on. No need for a real debate about gun control. No need to discuss the state of mental health care in the United States. No need to feel the slight bit of remorse at supporting a lack of gun laws and the ease with which anyone could get a firearm. Blame the liberals and move on, people. Nothing to see here. I will admit gun control has to be tightened, okay? And how can I put this? Gun control does need to be tightened. But I think we're handing out guns to the wrong people. But then again, even the most sincere person who hasn't had a criminal record in his life could easily get a gun and then easily just turn around and shoot someone on the street. We don't know how to tell from the good and the bad. We honestly don't know. Gun laws do need to be tightened, but how they need to be tightened, neither I or anyone else knows a reasonable solution to it. And until we can find a reasonable solution to it, then stop bitching. There's nothing we can do for now. Unless President Obama has any ideas. Other than that, I don't know. No need to discuss the state of mental health care in the United States. Adam never really had any help. Okay, that's because his mother really didn't have the money for it, or so I think. I mean, if I'm wrong, go ahead, and then that'll give me more reason to lash out at her. But I'll refrain from doing so. And not everybody has money for the fancy mental hospitals and whatnot. Not everybody has money for that. So it's not about the state of it; it's about the accessibility to it. How we can gain better access to it. Of course, the tragedy of Newtown wasn't the first time Huckabee invoked the lack of God as the cause for violence. After the theater shootings in Aurora, Colorado this past summer, the Florida GOP president candidate couldn't blame the removal of school-sanctioned prayers, so he turned to society as a whole. We don't have a crime problem, a gun problem, or even a violence problem. What we have is a sin problem. I would counter by saying one of the biggest problems we have is the sheer audacity of so many on the right to dismiss everything requiring a tech decision with a vague to talk about a deity that likely doesn't even exist, somehow allowing children to be murdered because he is mad about the separation of church and state. Church and state need to be separated. I'm sorry. Church and state desperately need to be separated. Not everybody thinks God exists. Not everybody thinks Buddha exists, etc., etc. Church and state need to be separated because once upon a time, the churches got greedy and stole money, okay? It happened with the Roman Catholics. It happened for a short time in the United States when our ancestors first found this damn place. Church and state need to be separate. It's in our Constitution for a reason. If you don't fucking like it, then I suggest you get the fuck out of my country. That's all I have to say. Now, I found another really good and yet really pissed off article about Mike Huckabee again. Oh, damn it. Crap. Hold on a second. Hang on just a moment. Here's another wonderful article that I found. Huckabee blames gays for the Newtown massacre. Somehow, the Fox pundit ascribes the shootings to abortion pills, iPhones, and homosexuals. Has he no shame? First off, this is my response. What the fuck? Okay, guys. I know it's been a while since I had a video, but I have a job now. I work at a gay community center, a community center for the LGBTQA, lesbians, gays, lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transsexuals, queer or questioning, and their allies. Okay, and I am obviously an ally, and I classify myself as bisexual, or as I learned at a term at work, bi-attractional. I am attracted to both men and women. I dated a girl and I'm married to a man, but I still find myself attracted to both genders, so I am bi-attractional. Okay. Aside from the fancy lingo, though, and yes, we have a lot of acronyms, I am offended by this statement because I am an ally and I do work as a slight volunteer in the gay community center. I work a little bit. I make a little bit less than minimum wage. I only work 1 day a week. Give me a break. But I am technically a volunteer, okay? Okay, legally a staff member because apparently I get paid with an actual... Okay, enough about me. I am offended by this because people like him... These these white-ass old people don't know how to get the fuck with the times, insist on blaming gays for everything. And in all honesty, this is the first time I've heard technology being blamed for this. But let's move on, because I don't want to bore you guys for an hour. In the wake of the horrific massacre in Newtown, Connecticut last Friday, it didn't take long for the gun apologist trolls to come out of the woodwork. Gun owners of America's appropriately named Larry Pratt insisted that the unarmed school facility was a fault, saying gun troll supporters have the blood of little children on their hands. And Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert declared that I wish to God the principal had an M4 in her office. What? Okay, first off, you can't blame the teachers for being unarmed, okay? You can't blame that. Maybe some of them don't believe in guns. In fact, probably all of them, dead or alive, didn't even have a fucking gun. Some have probably even never held a gun in their life. Do you honestly expect for them to bring a gun into their school? And you know, you can get fired for that. You can get fired for bringing a weapon into a school facility. You can get fired for that. You can get fired for it. You can get suspended for it. You get expelled for it. You could even get put in prison for it, okay? So in all honesty, I don't blame the teachers for not having a gun. Now, they probably had one in their car, but given the situation, the school has every right to search students' property, including high school students' car and the property of the staff that work there. You can get fired for having a weapon of any kind in the school building and you can get your teacher's license revoked, might I add, if you have a concealed or visible weapon. Even if you have a license, okay? Of course, that last part may be a little bit debatable, but even if you have a license, that might not everybody has a goddamn gun, guys, okay? I don't have a gun. I have knives, okay? And I brought knives to school, but I never fucking used them. It was either because I just felt like carrying it. I wasn't gonna use it, or B, something might have happened that I feel the need to carry it, or C, it was just in my pocket from the weekend and I totally forgot it was there. So come on! I wish to God the principal had an M4 in her office. Well, guess what? She didn't have a gun in her office, but that's not the reason why she died. Now, some people could argue that maybe that if they shot at the killer, then they didn't want to get in trouble. I was watching Panic 911 on A&E a couple weeks ago, and it's a decent show. It's a decent show. What they do is that they play back the calls of 911, of people who have called 911 when there was an intruder in their house or store. One night, there was a woman who lived with her young son and a stalker broke into her house, and she had a gun. Guess what the 911 operator told her? Ma'am, put the gun down. You're gonna tell someone to put the motherfucking gun down when they're trying to defend not only herself, but her 8-year-old son who is in the closet next to her. You're gonna tell her to put her only line of defense down? You're fucking retarded. The police are gonna mistake you. They're blah, 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 all this stupid. I'm like, no, don't put the gun down. Don't put the gun down. Yes, her and the boy survived in the end, but that was so fucking stupid. And then there's this old lady who lived out in the country. She was 32 miles from the nearest police station. And then somebody was trying to break into her house. She had a fucking shotgun. And her husband was at work. And she had a motherfucking shotgun. And that idiot was coming closer and closer. He had broken into her house and he was coming closer and closer. You know what she did? She shot that fucker in the chest. And no charges were pressed against her. Even if charges were pressed against you, you could still claim self-defense. And you would probably get off, maybe, with only a couple of years in jail. And maybe even a bail. Who knows? Not like you're going to get charged for manslaughter. Because it wasn't manslaughter. Especially since he was pulling off the first bullets. But it really took former Arkansas governor and current Fox News windbag Mike Huckabee to really torpedo our national conversation to a whole new low. It was Huckabee who didn't just mouth off once, but kept mouthing off, clearing his original vituperative inanity with more vituperative from his apparently limitless supply. I'm gonna move on because I have no clue what the fuck. First, on Friday, mere hours after the shooting, Huckabee appeared on Fox to muse, "We ask why there is violence in our schools, but we have systematically removed God from our schools." Wow! Should we be so surprised that schools would become a place of carnage, he added. Maybe we ought to let God in on the front end so we wouldn't have to call him to show up when it's all said and done at the back end. Because he was an opportunistic, self-promoting creep. First off, you're going to say this mere hours after little kids died by the hands of a deranged, mentally unstable 20-year-old gunman? You're really gonna do this? That's like rubbing every single kind of salt in the wound. If you're gonna say something like that, can't you just wait at least a day? Can't you wait at least a day? Why not wait until at least a day after the fucking shooting? But no, you're gonna go ahead out there, and because, oh, I'm in Arkansas, it doesn't affect me. It affects everyone, you moron! It's like the motherfucking domino effect. Because of this, gun laws are being questioned. Parents are wondering what are they going to tell their kids, and how are they going to explain to their kids what happened. Especially when I read that a 5-year-old just asked his mother and father the other day, 5-year-olds can't die, can they? And that was the saddest motherfucking thing I heard, because he was just asked just hours before the shooting. It's going to affect our gun laws. Parents and kids aren't going to be able to sleep well at night. Kids are going to be afraid to go to school. There's national sadness all over the fucking nation, and you're going to say, oh, we need to let God out of our schools. Are you really going to fucking say that? First off, I'm going to bet you that not all those kids, not all their parents are Christians. Some of them might have even been atheists. Some of them might have been Hindus. Some of them might have been Buddhists. And others might have been, I don't know what the fuck is. Okay? Then, over the weekend, on his own show, this asshole has a show? Why? He took on the predictable left and its vile and vicious reaction to his statements. He said he wasn't merely talking about school prayer. Oh no, haters! It's the fact that people sue a city so we aren't confronted on a manager scene or Christmas carol. Christmas churches and Christian-owned businesses are told to surrender their values under the etiquette of the government orders to provide tax-funded abortion pills. Church and state are motherfucking separate, which is why the abortion thing pisses me off so much. First off, I'm pro-choice, okay? I'm pro-choice. If I end up getting raped, and if I end up having a baby, and I'm not physically, mentally, emotionally, or financially able to take care of it, I'm sorry, I'm gonna abort it. I could give it up for adoption, except for the fact that over 1 fucking billion children a year don't get adopted. That's not just in this country, that's around the fucking world. And they're being treated like shit. There's not enough room for them. And it sounds cruel, but I would rather for the child not to exist rather than either have a terrible life in some abusive orphanage or have a life that the child doesn't deserve with a mother who's financially unstable. And even if I'm married and something happens and I accidentally get pregnant, yeah, I'm going to consider abortion. Because right now, I am not financially stable, I'm not emotionally stable, I'm not mentally unstable. I found a gray hair in my motherfucking head the other day, and I'm fucking 17 years old. But yes, I'm sorry, Christian businesses they have to give up their Christian views now. Why? Because church and state are separate, okay? I'm sorry. That's not saying that you have to give up your religion on a personal basis. No, go ahead and still go to church all you like. But when it comes to business and government, you're supposed to leave that shit at home, okay? Moving on. Where was I? On his webpage, this asshole has a show and a webpage. God, somebody kill him before I do it. He posted a version of a Spock's monologue, in which he wrote that we dismiss the notion of natural law and the notion that there are moral absolutes that seemed amazed when some kids make it their own morality to kill innocent children. We diminish and even hold in contempt the natural family of a mother and father creating and then responsibility raising the next generation, then expressed dismay that kids feel have real no connection to their families or even the concept of a family. Okay. I didn't completely understand it, so let me run by it again. We dismiss the notion of natural law and the notion that there are moral absolutes that seem amazed when some kids make it their own morality to kill innocent children. I'm not going to delve into that. If somebody could please clear that up for me, then that would help a lot. Thank you. Because I'm not even going to get into that. We diminish and even hold in contempt the natural family of a mother and father creating and then responsibility raising the next generation and then express dismay that kids feel no real connection to families or even the concept of a family. First off, I am the child of a broken home. My mom and dad went through a very, very, very nasty divorce. And to this day, I'm sick of the both of them. They are not my real family anymore. So no, I really don't have a concept of a family right now. That's not entirely my fault. Are you gonna say it's my fault that my mom and dad got divorced? No, it's not. I don't even want to get into that. Someone else can clear that up for me. Moving on. He also rallied about how our kids rather have earbuds dangling from their ears, fingers attached to a smartphone, and face attached to a computer screen, and we teach that God was not involved in our origins and our lives have very biological happenstances. Okay, first off about the technology, that's just today's. This is kind of going back to where video games cause school shootings. Okay, guys, for the record, I've recently become addicted to Skyrim. My husband's roommate has a PS3, and I was allowed to make my own profile, and I've been playing Skyrim for as much as I could. Okay, I'm a Khajiit, and I specialize in archery and sneaking and stealing, and I'm a part of the Dark Brotherhood. In case you're curious. And does that mean I'm gonna take a goddamn mace and fucking kill everyone I see? No, I do it for entertainment and to take my mind off of serious things when I don't feel like thinking about real life. Lately, I'm sorry to say, it hasn't been working as much as I wanted to, but moving on. Kids do this to escape reality. Yeah, they do it a little bit too much, but for me, I keep my face glued to a computer screen because it teaches me more things than real life can. But of course, nothing can beat real life experiences. We teach that God was not involved in our origins, and that our very lives are biological happenstances. Spoken like a true Christian extremist. God was... for the love of Jesus Christ. Okay, I believe in the Big Bang Theory. Yes, I like the show, but I mean the actual Big Bang Theory. I believe that it did not take God 7 motherfucking days. No, not even 7. 6 motherfucking days, less than a week, to create every single perfect goddamn being on this planet. It did not take him less than a week. It took several years of evolution. Everything started with the Big Bang. Fuck. Yeah, I'm becoming hysterical at this point. I apologize. You might want to turn down your volume right now. So no, scientifically speaking, God was not involved in our origins, okay? Now, of course, our past could easily be combined with a combination of religion and science. I don't know, maybe it wasn't for God, maybe science wouldn't exist. Haven't you thought about that? That's what my mom said to me, and she's Christian. And yet she believes in both. She believes that God created the earth in 6 days, and she believes in the Big Bang Theory. Why not have both, people? It's a mixture. It's a delicate balance. It's that word. It's that word. Balance again. God. There you have it. It wasn't a mentally ill lunatic with easy access to military-grade weaponry that caused one of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history. It was abortion pills, iPhones, evolution, and homosexuals. Oh, now I know what he meant by the family line. Okay, I know that. Okay. Again, Nancy, why did you have military-grade weapons in your house when you know you had a violently, mentally unstable 20-year-old living at your house, Nancy? I'm sorry. It was abortion pills, iPhones, evolution, and homosexuals. Yeah, the very mention of those things make me want to go stab somebody. Excuse me, I'm gonna go take my newly purchased meat cleaver that Mom and I just bought yesterday, and I'm gonna go slaughter some people with it. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do when I hear those words. Okay. Yeah, okay. I see how it is. Okay. I just played Pokemon. Now, excuse me, I'm gonna go slaughter some innocent children. Okay. I just got done playing Skyrim. Hey! Let's bomb down the World Trade Centers! The fuck? It's a familiar Huckabee refrain, and I've heard of this guy a couple times before, but I never really bothered to read what he said, so I'm just gonna go ahead and believe that. Last summer, after the deadly shooting in the Aurora movie theater, which I made a movie on that I'm sorry, which I made a video on that, but I didn't feel the need to follow up through it on that because it's been said, it's been done, I did my moment of silence, moving on. Huckabee went on Fox to say, "We don't have a crime problem, a gun problem, or even a violence problem. What we have is a sin problem. And since we've ordered God out of our schools, communities, the military, and public conversations, you know we really shouldn't act so surprised when all hell breaks loose." Wow! Oh my god. I'm not gonna get into that. Moving on. This was right around the same time Huckabee was busily attempting to cleanse our great nation of the gay menace by declaring a Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day to support the chain stance on biblical marriage and godly values. Okay, I was gonna make a video the instant I heard about it, but I was busy at the time. I had real life stuff going on. But basically, here's my thought on the whole Chick-fil-A thing real quick to put my 2 cents in. Or maybe 20 cents, as it might end up to be. Chick-fil-A, you guys are a motherfucking fast food restaurant. Honestly, your shit ain't even that good. I can make fried chicken better than you guys, okay? Your shit's not that great. Okay? You guys are a fast food restaurant. Not a very good one at that. You guys have absolutely, positively no motherfucking right to have your stance on the whole gay marriage thing. I'm sorry, you don't. Not in the workplace, at least. If in your personal lives you don't agree with people loving and marrying the same sex, and that's fine. That's your personal lives. It's none of our business. Don't bring this shit up in the workplace. It's like recently when the puppet master behind Elmo was recently convicted of having a homosexual relationship with a minor who was 16, I believe. Sesame Street didn't fire him. Didn't expel him. Wanna know why? Because he didn't bring it into the workplace. I don't give a damn what you think. I really don't. It's when you do stupid shit like this and bring it into the workplace. I'm sorry. That's none of my business, and certainly none of your business. Leave that shit at home. Right now, you're at work. I don't pay you to have your own goddamn values. Piece of paper I was supposed to be thrown away. I don't give a shit about your values in the workplace. You're there to work, make some money so you can continue on living your pathetic life, okay? Shut up, computer. So yeah, Chick-fil-A doesn't have a right to state what they think. I'm sorry. It's a fast food chain. You're supposed to serve me shitty food, okay? Oh, now I know where I heard the name Mike Huckabee came from. Okay, he's the asshole who started Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day. God, fucking retarded. Much like end times, Bible scholar John McTernan, who back in October declared that Hurricane Sandy was a work for the gays. Really? You're really going to blame a national disaster that left thousands of people homeless and still homeless? You're going to blame that on the gays? Who are these assholes? Where do they live? And how can I kill them? Huckabee seems to honestly believe that if we could just magically make everyone heterosexual and Christian, and while we're at it, maybe do away with all scientific evidence supporting evolution, terrible things will stop happening. Guess what, asshole? It's not going to stop happening because we're all human. He holds loving same-sex families more accountable for violence in Connecticut than he does a broken mental health system or the easy accessibility of guns, or even Adam Lanza himself, whose name is not once mentioned in this Fox monologue. You are fucking retarded. It is an appalling smear of wide variety groups and a breathtakingly ignorant view. You know what? You know what? This is starting to sound... Oh yeah, it's like that other asshole who said that... Oh, let me see here. What did he say again? Oh yeah, if you get raped, you can't get pregnant because things happen inside the woman's body to prevent that from happening. And if you end up getting pregnant, that means you enjoyed it. So he's like one of those assholes, right? Let me guess, he's Republican. Exactly. Exactly the motherfucking reason why I hate Republicans. They are ignorant windbags who don't know what the fuck they are talking about. I'm sorry, and I have friends who are Republicans, and I get along with them just fine, but they're level-headed. Even they know when to stop. So it's apparently these assholes. How do I kill these assholes? Seriously, who are you? Where the fuck do you live so I can go and murder you? I mean, seriously. And it's strikingly similar in spirit to Mitt Romney's response during the presidential debates to a question on gun violence. That, to tell our kids that before they have babies, they ought to think about getting married to someone. That's a great idea. I've had a couple scares, but guess what? Not legally, but I am married. Not legally, that's not until June of 2013, but I am married, and you don't see me pregnant, and even so, you're not going to see my child wielding a gun. I hope not. And just because you get married before you get pregnant doesn't prevent your child from being a complete serial killer, okay? It suggests that somehow prayer can prevent everybody and anybody from being mentally ill, and that hetero marriage cures murder, and that having a manager in the town square can stop a gunman from blasting his way into a school. No, it can't. It's grotesque and hateful, even by Mike Huckabee standards. But even if he's remotely correct that we've all been so great ordering God out of American life, what in the hell do we have to do to successfully exile Mike Huckabee as well? Holy shit. It's just now 1 o'clock. I should be asleep right now. I plan on taking a nap until 2:30 because I got shit to do, and Mom always leaves me tons of shit to do. Oh my god, my head hurts from such stupidity! Okay. Lately, my mom has been watching a lot of Investigation Discovery, which is kind of like the Discovery Channel, except with a bunch of crime shows. You know, like Forensic Files, and Wives with Knives, and Wicked Attraction. And she said to me the other day, haven't you noticed that people like to, let's talk about Detroit, for example, because I live close to Detroit. Haven't you noticed that people just love to talk about how Detroit is filled with murderers and drug dealers and rapists and womanizers and prostitutes and all that stuff? And yet, it's mainly the white people who do it. I'm sorry. I would hate to stereotype here, but it is mainly the straight Christian white people, okay? It is mainly the straight Christian white people who freaking do this kind of shit. I'm sorry. Gee, what race was the shooter? White. What was his religion? Christian, probably. What was his sexual preference? Probably straight. Exactly. And yet you're gonna have the nerve on blaming gays. Now, also tell me, what are humans closely related to? Apes. What did we evolve from? Apes. Exactly. There are a lot of chromosomes. There are approximately 25 matching chromosomes between us and gorillas. So in all honesty, we're not that much different. In fact, we are technically animals. We are mammals. We are warm-blooded. There is no real difference between humans and animals. We still have primal needs. We still have primal instincts. The only difference is that we talk in forming words. Wait, no. Every animal talks in forming words. Every animal has their own form of communication. So the only difference is that we build shit. Yeah, we build shit. And we have, actually no, I take that back. The only real difference is that we have more pointless arguments about shit that doesn't matter. Fuck, straining my voice over this shit. I don't care if the gays want to get married or not. I mean, yeah, that'd be wonderful because guess what? As a future event planner specializing in weddings, hey, more revenue for me, but I care more about it on a greed level, and I think that, yeah, they deserve to be happy. Why the fuck not? They gotta go through every goddamn thing else. At least grant them the right to be married. So they have to deal with assholes like Huckabee here. I wasted about an hour of your guys' time ranting and rambling on, and now my throat hurts really badly. So to recap, this is just a recap. Nancy, I'm sorry you had to die a terrible and horrible death, but you should have known better than keeping a bunch of military-grade weapons in your house with a 20-year-old mentally ill son. Adam, I feel kind of sorry for you because you were mentally unstable, and none of us will truly know what was going through your mind at the time. But even so, I hope you still have a somewhat decent afterlife. It's not entirely your fault. We can't put the blame on one single person. And for anybody who thinks I'm being too soft, guess what? Shove it. Mike Huckabee, you deserve to die, okay? You and all your little friends deserve to die. You are you are narrow-minded, you are windbag, you are pompous, and you are ignorant, okay? Evolution, technology, and homosexual doesn't have to do that. Those aren't the answers to all the world's crimes, okay? And if we could, we would totally remove you as well. To the families of the victims, both child and adult, I hope you guys find a way to cope, and I hope you find a way to explain to the young siblings what exactly happened, and I hope you all will keep into your hearts and remember who these people were, and don't ever forget them, but don't linger on them. Uh, Gun laws, we do need tighter gun laws, but right now nobody, including myself, knows exactly how to crack them down. Until we can find a reasonable way to tighten them, then I suggest shutting the hell up. Okay? The mental care system kind of needs to be looked at and reformed a little bit. I suggest you guys read some of the articles. They can provide probably much reliable information than I can. And stay safe. Have a happy holiday. And I just want a moment of silence to mourn not only those who were killed in Sandy Hook Elementary School, but those who were killed in the whatever the hell that mall was, and this past summer the Aurora, Colorado shootings. For some of us are still hurting from that. So, a moment of silence, please, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, that's just about enough. God bless you all. Have a wonderful Christmas, and I hope to talk to you guys again soon. This is Raxel 1447 signing out, but not for the last time.